So today is my birthday, and I thought it'd be a really good day to kind of look back at the goals I made last year around this time, and the goals that I have for this coming year as well. I like to do this around my birthday time just because it's a good end of the year, beginning of a year, like kind of thing. And also it's still December, so next month is going to be the new year, so, you know, gotta work towards all of that. Last year I had 3 goals that I really wanted to hit, which were 1, read 3 books, which I totally did. And to be honest, like reading the 3 books really helped me become me. It really helped me figure my life out a bit, and that was really nice and really what I enjoyed from reading the books. I don't know if I'm going to set a goal on reading books again, just because I'm not a big reader, but I am glad that I said it. I am glad that I actually finished all 3 books and that I actually hit the goal that I set out to hit. Number 2 was make 3 Lego sets. Now, this was make 3 Lego sets with my wife, and we totally did that. We have the Baby Yoda, Thor's hammer, so Meljanor, and the globe, and the NES set. So we actually hit 4 instead of just 3. And then we are also in the middle of doing the typewriter, but the typewriter has a lot more work to be done. Obviously, it's missing the whole rest of it. And we started this like 3 weeks ago and still haven't quite finished it. So now it just lives over here on my desk, out of sight. But it lives there and it's happy, and we're gonna finish it soon. And lastly, my 3rd goal, which I did not hit, was have my own personal app hit $50 of monthly reoccurring revenue. Now, like I said, I didn't hit this. I'm still working towards it. I didn't hit this for a few reasons. Number 1, I got super busy during the year. I started freelance for iOS work, and that freelancing gigs actually took a lot of time that I could have put towards iHog. And that's really why I didn't hit it, was just time and effort, and you know, things come up where you just don't have time to work on your own side projects. So that's basically what happened. But I did move the app over to subscriptions. And there's a couple people that did sign up for the yearly subscription, but I think there's a bug that's causing more people to not sign up. So that's an issue that I'm hitting, and I need to fix it, and I'm working on it. There are some things that I'm super excited about that I did do this year that I think still deserve some recognition, even though I don't have to deal with the goals that I set for myself. And number 1, that is actually getting a full-time iOS job. I know I mentioned that in a lot of videos, but I'm still super stoked, super excited about it. I worked really hard to get to this point of being able to work full-time as an iOS developer for a company. That just, part-time learning, part-time working, full-time job, trying to balance social life, trying to balance side projects and learning, it was a lot of stuff. And it all worked. It all worked out. I got everything I needed, and it's great. It's working. And here we are now at the end of the year. I'm able to say I am professionally doing an iOS app. And I shouldn't really say just professionally doing, because I do consider contract work professional work as well. But it's not the same as working on a corporate team, and it's definitely not the same as working with other iOS app developers. The amount of stuff I've learned in just being in this job for 2 months is absolutely insane. And the fact that it's pushing me to do more than what I've ever done with my own personal apps, it's awesome. And that's just not something I would get if I was just doing contract work or I was just doing indie app work, on my own apps. So I'm super excited about that. Now, granted, I will put out some contract work does get you to push yourself to the next level. I just don't know if I would necessarily feel comfortable accepting that contract work. Whereas if I'm in a job situation with multiple people, there are other people I can ask for help, which is really nice. As I hinted at with the books, I really started working on myself a lot this year. I don't remember if it was this year or the year before, at the end of last year, but I started therapy, and man, was that also a nice thing for me to do. It really helped me. It's really helping me figure myself out, figure out boundaries, all that kind of jazz. So it's personally helping me grow as a person, which is also helping me in my career and in my contract work and everything else. Like being a person that can just accept themselves really helps others also accept yourself. And I know that sounds like really like therapy like type, but like it's true. Like the more value I've been putting on myself, I can see other people putting the value into me as well. And so that's just like something to take into account. Again, I really think it benefits to have therapy. Like whether or not you think you need it, like I think everyone should be going to therapy, but that's a whole nother subject. I am really excited to see what year 29 is going to bring. So let's just talk about this year's goals and like what I really want to accomplish this year. And that number one being, I actually want to hit that $50 a month of monthly reoccurring revenue. So with my own apps. Number two, I want to finish iHog's move over to the composable architecture. That might seem like a small feat, but it is actually turning into a little bit more complex and taking more time because I am still accepting like contract work and stuff. So it's still like the same issue that I ran into hitting the $50 a monthly recurring revenue goal last year. And then also number three, I want to bullet journal every work day basically. So now I really want to talk about like each of these goals a little bit more in depth. So the first goal of $50 a month of recurring revenue. Well, I think this is totally doable. I want to do this for a couple of reasons. Number one, I like the idea of the apps that I put on the App Store can really sustain themselves. I know $50 a month of recurring revenue totally sustains, at least once I hit 3 months, like completely sustains like my app development, my Apple developer program, the website, all that kind of jazz. But there's a lot more things that go into iOS app development besides just those services, like my time. The computer that I'm using, like you have to have a Mac to do app development, that kind of stuff. So I would really like to hit that $50 a monthly recurring revenue because it will allow me, because then my apps become more sustainable by themselves. And then it'll also like, once you hit 50, I feel like you can just keep growing. So hopefully that's the case. And my second goal of finishing iHog's move over to the composable architecture, that's really tied into goal number one as well. The composable architecture is a nice little app architecture that I think is really, really useful for me, especially since I sit down apps and pick them back up, knowing where I was or how I was using a framework or like how I was trying to implement a feature is really nice. And the composable architecture, with as opinionated as it is, really helps me with that. Now, why is this just a goal for the whole year and not necessarily a goal for like a more time-boxed goal? Well, that's really comes down to just like me not wanting to set a time box. Like stuff comes up, stuff pops up. Like I have a work trip in February. I have other deadlines and stuff to hit that I just don't know if it makes sense to actually time box this goal. And now finally, like why do I want to bullet journal every single workday? Well, it's more of like emptying your thoughts. If you've ever read like anything about getting things done or the book Getting Things Done, like you'll know that getting things out of your head actually clears up your mind and allows you to get focused. So that's exactly what I want to do. So if I bullet journal every day through work, every weekday, so like I start every work day, I should say. So Monday, I lay out the tasks that I have for that day. Monday morning, lay out the tasks that I have. Use the book to actually like write down what is coming out of my mind so I don't have to hold it inside my brain. That's going to allow me to focus better. It's going to allow me to put more time and effort into my work projects, into my side projects, into myself, into my family. Like it'll really help me just focus and not have to worry about all the like tasks and such that I have boiled up in my head as much. So they'll just be out of my head. It'll be clear. My head will be more clear. And then I'll start getting in the habit. And it's also about building habits. So I'll start getting into that habit of journaling, of getting stuff out of my head, of writing it down. And so that I also have that record of what I want to do next time. So whether it's like, oh, I didn't finish this task from yesterday, or there was this thought I had about an app, where does it like, what is the state? Like, I have it written down and I don't have to go and try to remember, oh yeah, I wanted to do XYZ feature and it's like six months from now, and XYZ feature, I'm trying to remember why, I'm trying to remember the purpose. I have all that written down because I just remembered to jot it down in my bullet journal. Also, having it in a journal that I can just like use and pick up. So like my journal here that I can just use, pick up, write down, means that I can very easily take what's in here and put it into the computer if needed. Why not use a digital tool? You know, like there's like OmniFocus, Things, Todoist, I don't know, even Apple reminders that can just take tasks in if it's all about getting like tasks out of my brain. Well, I get really distracted really easily, and and if I use one of those digital tools, what I notice is I end up changing my tool almost every single week. Basically every time there's a new Mac Power Users episode and they say, oh, I'm trying this productivity tool. I'm like, maybe I should try that productivity tool. And then I have 7 productivity tools to choose from. And then there's decision fatigue. Which one do I put it in? And I'm doing the same thing with note apps right now. I have Craft, Obsidian, and Notion that I'm trying to balance. I think Obsidian has gone out the window, and now it's just Notion and Craft, and I think I have them pretty split, but still, there's still decision fatigue. Do I go into Craft? Do I go into Notion? Do I try Obsidian again? Like, there's a lot of decision fatigue here. And by just saying, I'm going to bullet journal, I'm going to use my notebook, and that is it, that decision has been made. I don't have to think about it anymore. I'm not distracted by what's the best tool, what's the best outcome, all that kind of stuff. It just goes in here. Now, another thing to distraction is like social media distraction. So like, how does that work? How does that play into effect? The browser is so accessible on digital tools, stuff like that. That's also another way I get really distracted. So by utilizing the notebook, I don't have any of that. And those are like my reasons for having the goal. And those are like my goals. That's a little background to my goals this year. And I will catch you in the next video.